Amtrak 501. Emergency, emergency, emergency. We are on the ground.
The cart was shaking a ton, and then it just flew off.
The train car that I was in flipped upside down.
I hear a loud noise, people screaming.
I had a huge gash in my head. I really thought I was about to die.
We are all seeing these pictures with a sense of shock and dread.
There were bodies everywhere.
Where is our patient at?
In this car.
I was in panic. Nobody could tell me where my dad is.
I swear I was going to have a heart attack. Your son's somewhere. You can't get a hold of him.
They have declared this a mass casualty incident.
Seeing how much damage and what had unfolded,
tons of people are hurt.
I thought, how did this happen?
Western Washington Amtrak riders are going to see some big changes starting today as new tracks end a train station just opened minutes ago.
Yeah, pretty exciting for a lot of folks who want to ride the train. King 5's Alex was here live.
We're about ready to go. We haven't left quite yet, but we're going to any second. We're on the brand new 6 a.m. Amtrak ride heading from Seattle to Portland.
Amtrak 501 was the first train on a new and expanded rail service for the company. It was December 18th. Every single year, I feel like around that time, people are in a good mood. It's a happy time. It's a week before Christmas, and that's exactly what I was seeing and feeling that morning. Our plan was to report on the train throughout the morning.
And take a look, we're in the cafeteria here. I mean, I'm just having a blast. I'm supposed to get on.
The train was scheduled to depart at 6 a.m., and throughout the morning, it was just a bit of a slow start. We didn't leave the Seattle King Street station until 6:10. But it was the first day of the service, so I really didn't think too much of it.
It was Christmas break, and my son Tim wanted to go down to visit his cousins. And so we figured, hey, he's 16, we'll put him on the train and he'll be fine. Although he didn't want to get on the train, he was really hesitant. Said, no, you're on the train, you'll be fine. I knew right away that Tim had something special. He had really good eye-hand coordination. Not only that, he just loved being outdoors. And so I was thinking, hey, I might have a ball player here. And that was the case. Sports was his main motivator when he was young, was to play anything. If you could kick it, catch it, throw it, he was going to do it.
The train was supposed to pick them up at the Tukwila station. So we got down there early. We walked up and I sat with him and we went over his ticket. And there was a young man to my right and he was listening. So I was saying, Tim, you cannot fall asleep on the train. You have to get off at Portland and get on the other one. The young kid next to me, his name was Tyler, and I said, maybe you two should stick together when you get on the train in case somebody falls asleep.
She asked me if I can, kind of look after Timmy, make sure he gets to his location. And I said, yeah, for sure, yeah. We were actually getting along really great, and he was a great guy. I still remember his hair. He had the coolest hair at that time, really long brown hair. We sat in the back left corner of the cart. He was maybe 5 feet from me to the left, right? I could see him to my left. It was a great ride. Scenery was great. And after a few minutes, I fell asleep and I actually just laid down to my side in the chair and I was out.
I was living in Eugene at the time. I had literally just had a baby. My brother Quincy and my dad were taking the train to come down and see her because Quincy hadn't met Ariana yet.
The baby's only a few weeks old. Me and my dad were really excited to see her, my first niece.
Growing up, my dad was pretty goofy. He would sing a lot. If you wanted to go on a road trip with him, you might want to bring earplugs because he would literally sing the entire time. I would definitely say we had a good relationship.
My dad was the glue that holds the family together. That was my first time taking a train. I was looking forward to it the night before, setting my clothes out the night before. When the train arrived, we sat down on the left side of the train. I had my iPad, I put on my show, I laid down. After I laid down, I fell asleep.
That morning, I was so exhausted, and I had slept in a little bit late. But when we got there, I just went up, said goodbye to my mom, and went up to the station.
She wanted to go visit with a friend down in Oregon. She was 18. She had taken the train several times down to Oregon. And so I was comfortable with it. I didn't feel like she was in any danger taking a train.
Alex, how's the ride so far?
Jake and Joyce, good morning. We are just a few minutes outside of the new Tacoma Dome station. I want to give you a look around here. You can see.
We would often go live in our morning newscast every half hour or every hour. So we went live on board the train multiple times.
Pulling into Tacoma on the new 6 a.m. train. Jim, what do you think?
Smooth ride.
Smooth ride? We're almost here.
When the train arrived in Tacoma, we got off the train.
You're looking at that train leaving the Tacoma station.
And there was a breaking news story that we were sent to cover. I remember we arrived at that story just about a mile away from the train station. And my executive producer calls me. She's crying. She's emotional. She's saying, "Are you okay? Are you alive?" I said, "What are you talking about?"
Amtrak 501. Emergency, emergency, emergency. We are on the ground.
An Amtrak train fell off the I-5 overpass. The train is hanging off the overpass. It's landed on vehicles. Our train crashed. I'm on the train. I'm physically on the train.
Okay. Is anybody in the car that you're in hurt?
Yes, a lot.
Oh my God, that train is derailed over the freeway. I'm gonna have a heart attack.
It all happened really, really fast. I remember like a screeching sound, and then next thing I know, I got thrown to my left. And then everything just went dark. I woke up on the ground of the train, almost like the car had been flipped over and the chairs were now on the roof. It was completely dark, and Timmy was laying over me. His body was draped over me, and his head was right next to mine. I didn't know if he was alive. I couldn't feel him breathing. I couldn't feel anything. I looked down towards my legs, and there was 3 bodies laying over my legs. I don't know if they were alive either, but they definitely were not moving. I realized I had a huge gash in my head. Blood was flowing down my face. I just felt the blood. I just laid my head down, and I had this feeling to pray, because I really thought I was about to die. And then a fight or flight instinct kicked in. The sun, it had illuminated enough to just see the doorway where the exit was. As I'm walking towards the door, I turned around to Timmy. He's laying on the ground. I said, "Don't worry, I'm coming back for you."
I remember waking up to a loud noise. I hear people screaming. I remember my dad looking at me with huge eyes. He picked me up like a bear hug, like he was Superman and a big bear. He grabbed me so super tight. And after that, I'm on the ground outside on the freeway. I looked around, and that's when me and my dad got separated.
There was a loud screech. That's what woke me up, I think. The train car that I was in flipped upside down and landed on the road underneath the bypass. And because I was sitting at a table, my legs kind of locked me in place. so that I wasn't flung. I was just kind of like held. But then when the train actually like landed on the ground, I then landed on basically the ceiling. I remember opening my eyes and seeing like daylight and seeing the sky and feeling the like asphalt underneath me and knowing that I was on the ground, but not really knowing why I was on the ground, and kind of realizing that something had changed, but like I couldn't place what had happened.
This is an NBC News special report. Here's Lester Holt.
Good day, everyone. We are following a developing situation in Washington State where a train has apparently gone off the rails. And as you can see in this photo, it is some of the cars have actually fallen on an interstate. We have no word on injuries or any other casualties on board that train, but you can see for yourself this is very, very serious.
I was on my way to work. I'm on the phone with my wife, and then traffic just comes to a halt. I look back, and I saw the train hanging off the side of the bridge. And I told my wife, oh my God, there's a train hanging off the bridge. I gotta go. So instinctually, I just pulled my car to the side of the road, and I was on autopilot. I looked up at the train car that was hanging down, and I was like, that's where people are. How do I get up there? And I quickly crawled up the back of a semi-truck and onto the top of the inverted train car, and I just went right up into the car. And it was an absolute disaster. It's like you took the train car and just shook it like a snow globe. Debris is scattered everywhere.
Do we need to go up top? We got a ladder here.
What do you do next? Could this train break loose and fall even further? We didn't know how much time we had.
We have Alex Rozier. Alex, you were on an Amtrak train earlier this morning. Tell us what you're looking at, what you know at this point.
It's just a shocking sight here. And obviously on a personal note as well, having just got off that train 10 minutes before, and now this. I mean, we're responding to what you heard from Pierce County Sheriff as a mass casualty situation. This train has derailed. There's multiple emergency vehicles spread throughout Interstate 5, and we have a very big problem on our hands. Here I am, somebody who was just on this train, and now it's professionally one of the biggest stories of my career, and personally one of the most traumatic moments of my life. You think about how that could have been me. If we would have been on the train for 15 more minutes, we would have been right there. I just remember looking at that train, knowing the people you were talking to were on it, and just wondering who's alive.
I told Timmy, don't worry, I'm coming back for you. And I put my foot on the edge of the doorway. Next thing I know, I wake up. It was almost like there was no time in between, and my face is completely in the pavement on the ground. And then I hear this woman, her voice, and it was like, stop, stay down, don't move. And I'm laying there, I'm so confused, and I'm like, who is this woman?
Let's lay you down flat.
And she was like, what happened? What happened with this train? And I said, I don't know what happened. I was just sleeping on the train.
1, 2, 3.
As I'm getting put in the ambulance, I remember telling them, you guys gotta go get Timmy. His name's Timmy, he's in that car. You guys need to go get him right now, he's gonna die.
I was getting ready to go to work. I seen my phone ring, and I seen it was my father-in-law. And he doesn't usually call me on Monday mornings. So when I answered the phone, he said, there's been a train wreck. And I was like, at first I was just oblivious, like, train wreck? I mean, it was the furthest thing away from my mind. And he said, no, wasn't Timmy in a train? There was a train wreck down by Olympia.
Multiple fire and rescue personnel
And he goes, well, it's on TV. Turned the TV on, and the first angle of the camera was a distance away, and I couldn't really tell. And I was like, that's not Amtrak. And then once the camera zoomed in, It was just like, you know, my heart started racing. So the first thing, everything's fine. You know, everything's probably still fine. There's a lot of cars on that train. I only see 3 or 4 that are down. So I dialed them, and no answer. I texted them, no answer. So immediately I called Robin.
My heart was just racing. My mind was like, where is he? What's going on? It's like, this can't be happening.
I swear I was going to have a heart attack. Not your son's somewhere. You can't get a hold of him. Just distressed, not there to protect him. He's a young kid, you know. I was just lost. I mean, my heart was pounding, my head was running. I didn't know what to do, so I went into his room and I bowed my head and I said, Jesus, if you take him, he's yours, I understand. But please, just let me know if he's alive.
I was the night shift charge nurse at Madigan Hospital. Completed my full shift, was on my way home, and we noticed that there was a train down in front of us. I get out of my car, there were bodies everywhere. Underneath the train, on the side of the train. I remember a young African-American gentleman who was bleeding from his head. He was yelling, "Please help my dad, please help my dad."
Is there a 12-year-old over here too?
I was crying to myself, where's my dad, where's my dad? Like, where am I, what happened?
Did you stand up and get on the 30? No?
I remember being on the ground. When I look up, I see the train, just rocks falling from a train dangling down. I see blood gushing down my hands, onto my shoes, onto the ground.
I'm gonna pick you up, okay? Right? I don't have any.
And then I was just telling myself, I want to go to sleep.
That's gonna be patient 2.
I remember it was some lady that came to pick me up. She was just telling me, don't go to sleep, stay up, I'm strong, stay up. I'm just still asking where my dad's at.
There was a gentleman laying on the ground underneath the train that was dangling. I went over and I was trying to assess what was going on. And people are yelling at me to move out of the way because they're like, there's diesel fuel on the ground. It's not safe, it's not safe. And I was like, wait, we can't leave these people here. There are several other people on the ground underneath that train. So we can't just leave them here. If the train falls, they'll be gone.
Do we need to go up top? We got a ladder here.
Everything was very much focused on getting people to a safer place. We worked our way up the train car and got probably about 20 to 30 people out of the car.
So what they're doing is they're funneling all the people out of here. Yep. And they're putting them over here.
They were pulling the folks out, handing them down, and then bringing them to the side of the road where we were.
Where is our patient at? In this car.
I just thought it was absolutely crazy that they were climbing the side of this train that was sideways dangling off of the overpass.
No, this patient's coming out right now.
Eventually, we cleared the train car that was upside down. When I actually exited, I stood there on top of the upside down train car and looked around for the first time, seeing how much damage, how much chaos, and what had unfolded. How did this happen? How in the world did this train fall off a bridge?
Multiple sources do say investigators are looking into whether train 501 was going way too fast as it approached the curve where it derailed.
This will clearly be of great concern to authorities as they try to discern what happened.
I'm in the office. It's fairly quiet in there because it's still really early. and I get a phone call, and it's a number I don't know. It's Maddie, and I just hear this like little voice, and it just sounds like, she sounded like she was 5. She just goes, "Mom," and I was like, what is happening? Because it was not normal. And she said, "Mom, my train fell." And I was like, I was beside myself. I was like, what do you mean your train fell? I couldn't even process what she was telling me.
I was busy with a client. My phone's just blowing up. It's Dottie trying to get a hold of me, and I look at the message, it's like, call me. Maddie's train wrecked. And what? I jump in my car. That drive, it was just heart-wrenching. Every emotion you could think of is running through my body. The biggest thing is I got to get to Maddie and what has happened to my daughter.
So triage is going to be all over here. These are the most critical places. That's all we got so far.
The only thing I can remember is just singularly thinking of each injury as it came to me. What do I do?
Do we have patient numbers for them or anything? You don't. Okay.
If I saw in front of me a laceration, then okay, what can I use for a bandage? There wasn't really a lot of time to sit and think about things. You just had to go with what you know.
I just hear the ambulance coming. I hear people screaming, "Oh my gosh." And there's people just running back and forth, and they came and put me on a stretcher.
Hey, buddy, we're gonna shift you over, okay? Count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
They're telling me everything's gonna be all right. And at this time, I'm still asking, where's my dad at? Where's my dad at? I need my dad. I'm just still thinking about my father.
That morning, I had gotten a phone call asking me, hey, where's your dad? And I'm groggy, I'm just waking up, I just had a baby, you're really tired, you're up all night and you don't get any sleep. And so I was like, what do you mean, where's my dad? And they're freaking out, we haven't talked to your dad. He's not answering his phone. And so when I was watching the news, of course you see the train, what it looks like.
Officials there in Pierce County tell us there are injuries, there are fatalities, there are no numbers right now.
And I just remember thinking my dad's dead. And my brother's dead. They're both gone. I grabbed a box of diapers and my newborn. We had gotten in the car. I'm crying the entire ride there. Nobody still could tell me where my dad is. I remember calling my dad's phone. Thinking my dad's in the rubbish, nobody knows where he's at, he could be on top, underneath a train. Maybe his phone died, and maybe because he got in a train accident, it's dead, so he needs to find a charger. And I'm calling Quincy's phone, no answer there either. Going to voicemail, going to voicemail, going to voicemail. And I just was in panic, you just, there's no way that you could even think this is happening to you.
My husband and I, we didn't know which hospital even go to. We were listening on the news, different people were going everywhere. So I think we went to St. Joe's first. We walked in and it was a horrific sight. The whole hallway had people lined up. People were bleeding and crying. So I saw a nurse. I just said, do you see a boy in there with a white sweatshirt with a hoodie? She said, there's nobody in there with a white sweatshirt on. My heart was racing and I was like, I gotta find my son. I don't know what's going on and where he is and how injured he is. Is he still in the train?
You know, it's just one of those things where you take a deep breath, I mean, just maintain your composure, because what else are you going to do? I mean, I'm going to fall apart. And then one of the administrators came in and said, we've located Tim. Didn't know what condition he was in. You just pray. He had to be alive.
Alex Rozier, who was on this train. This has got to be an intense day for you. What do you know right now?
Yeah, it's been a very tough morning for us, tough to process exactly what's taken place here. Every 10, 15 minutes, they were coming back to me to check in on what was happening at the scene. And I remember standing on that overpass and looking at that train. I'll give you a look behind me and show you what we're looking at. And I couldn't help but think that some of the people who I talked to live on that train, some of the people who I met that morning, are they okay? Are they alive? You didn't know how to reach them. You just hoped that they were okay.
I think my adrenaline was just going so high. It was just a matter of just get there, just get there. I walked in to the ER and there was, probably 8 different TVs. And I glanced over and on every single TV was the train accident. And I hadn't seen the accident at that point. And I just went, and I kind of scanned the TVs and looked back and I said, I can't look at this. They took me back to Maddie and they were pretty much just like cutting her clothes off of her. And I just kept thinking, this can't be real. This can't be happening.
The moment I locked eyes on her, I got pretty emotional. I didn't know what the severity of the injuries were. Dottie pulls me aside and said, she's gonna have surgery. There's waiting room and there was other families there. There was just this feeling that we were going through something, and there was a sense of understanding and support for each other.
On the drive, had gotten a call. Quincy was at Madigan Hospital. Quincy's okay. Like, he's alive. When I walk in, I saw Quincy on the bed. His face was really swollen. He had like a big gash on his forehead here. He had an arm sling on. He was kind of acting like he was okay, but in reality, like, he didn't look okay. And I'm crying because, like, I didn't have this anticipation that my brother was gonna meet my daughter this way. And I'm already like 2 weeks postpartum. You have a lot of emotions going through you. You're trying to like keep calm. After I knew Quincy was okay, I could calm down about him, but I'm still freaking out about my dad. And then I had gotten a call and they said, hey, your dad is at St. Joe's. Like, you need to come here, but you have to prepare yourself when you come here. We ran over to my dad's hospital and I had walked in and I see my dad's face is oblong. Me and my dad have a very similar head shape, like it's round. I remember I saw my dad's jaw laying on his chest. It was the most horrendous thing I've ever seen in my life. We had heard from the physician that my dad needed a full facial reconstruction. And it was so traumatizing. Like, the doctor's like, well, we can't promise you he's gonna make it out of this surgery. I'm like telling my dad, like, I love you. It's like my children are not gonna have a grandpa, and my dad's like in love with my children. I didn't think like he was gonna make it at all. But I feel like the thing that made me realize like he was gonna be okay was when I had seen him come out of the surgery. You can kind of just talk to him and like he could hear you. And so I was able to kind of calm down.
The first time I went to go see my dad when I got released, we locked eyes, we held hands, we hugged each other, and we cried for 10 minutes straight because we're survivors.
I just remember when I woke up, I was on the freeway. In that moment, I have no clue that I'm hurt, no clue. My thoughts were, where's Quincy? That was my thought. You know, Quincy wasn't with me. Next thing I know, I'm in the hospital. It was so overwhelming for me at that time. I just remember, just telling the kids I'm gonna be okay.
He had finally got moved over to an in-hospital PT, and I didn't know what was gonna happen. What if he can't walk again? Like, what if he's brain damaged? It was scary.
When we got to Tacoma General, we had to wait because Timmy was in surgery. And we just waited until the doctor came out, and he told us that, yes, Tim had a spinal cord injury. He broke all the vertebrae here. He said I had to take bone out of his hip to reform the bone here.
And then the doctor said, look, at this point, Timmy will never walk again. That he'll be paralyzed the rest of his life. He said it's a severe spinal cord injury. You never know the outcome, but at this point, I would tell you that he will never walk again. And devastating. So when he came out of surgery and then he went to the ICU, and that's where we first laid eyes on him. You're balancing, he's alive, but he'll never walk again. Thinking about not my feelings, but his. Here's the kid lying there that he never relaxed at all. He just moved, constantly moving all the time, and then he's completely incapacitated.
I wouldn't leave his side. I slept on the floor in the hospital, and he was just burning up. They didn't know that he would even live. They just said, you know, we'll just see what happens.
I never imagined something so horrific for my own child. From that moment on, we focused on what do we got to do to take care of him, to resurrect our kid from this body that didn't work anymore. I still held hope. Hope is everything. That's the only thing we have in life.
The deadly DuPont train derailment was a total institutional failure.
That is according to the National Transportation Safety Board, which concluded its investigation into the crash today.
3 people died, dozens injured. Investigators cite human error, saying the train was going more than double the speed limit. They also say heavier train cars may have prevented 3 passenger deaths.
The NTSB determined that the train was going far too fast, nearing 80 miles per hour in a 30-mile-per-hour zone. And ultimately, there were a number of agencies that shared the blame here. I think about it always. It's a historic train ride to chaos and emergency responders and hospitals and death. It was tough. It still is.
It's yummy. I just wanted a vegetable on the side. So.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Once Maddie's surgery was completed, doctors came out, and the first thing they said was, boy, she's a fighter. They showed us the x-ray. I just looked at all the pins and screws they had in her, and I went, oh my word. I mean, they literally put her together.
My pelvis just kind of was like in basically 2 pieces. And then I broke my lower back. I had just the sharpest pain in my back. I felt like I couldn't move without being in like excruciating pain. I was so happy to be going home, but things were gonna be different. I was going home as someone who had to use a walker and a wheelchair.
You're good though.
There you go.
For a while, it was really hard to like think about the accident or talk about it without getting like panicky or crying. But I think that I'm definitely in a better space mentally now. I have an amazing husband, and we have an amazing little house on a lake out in the mountains in Washington.
Oh, good job. Can you act a little cuter?
The accident gave me like a lot of perspective, and it makes me extremely grateful for my life now. It's something that I wish never happened, but it's something that I think was maybe supposed to happen.
These are the actual breaks that happened in the accident. Then this is all the fixes. So this is all the plates they put in, exactly where they were, my braces I had. So my brain injury has just been a journey. It's a journey. It's going to continue to be a journey. I have challenges because I'm not the Donnell I used to be. I had to basically learn everything from the beginning, how to think and movements. I had to learn how to walk again.
Jeez, Donnell, rocking it. You're not even sweating yet. Up there.
When people see me, they're talking to Donnell before the brain injury, not the Donnell with all the stresses of trying to think differently, trying to react differently. The accident has taken, years away from my life. Years. Just catching up, to be semi-normal again.
Oh gosh, Dad.
Ooh. Quincy's, he's done great. He's playing college basketball. He's just a great kid.
You ready? Oh!
Now I live less than a quarter mile from my dad, so it takes me about 2 minutes to get to his house, which is nice. So I'm there all the time. My daughter is obsessed with my dad. They're very close.
My life is be a good dad, be a good grandpa. I just appreciate that I'm here, that my grandkids can know who their grandfather is. Life is so precious.
How are you?
The whole future suddenly has changed. You just don't know. It's a big question mark. You're just flooded with thoughts. How's he gonna take this? How are we gonna handle this? Just didn't know what the future was gonna be.
I remember waking up to a doctor telling me about my injuries and stuff, telling me like, you have a spinal cord injury. And I remember that vividly because I was like, what is a spinal cord injury? As a 16-year-old, I don't know what that is. I had staples in my head. I couldn't breathe on my own. A couple broken ribs, collapsed lung. There were so many questions, but the biggest one was what? Will I ever walk? Will I ever get out of this bed? Will I ever, be able to live life again? It was hard. So I just knew I had to keep fighting, and keep like pushing my body to be honest, not die.
How are you feeling there? You keep coming up?
Everything below my neck, I couldn't move, so I had to slowly rebuild every single little bit of my body.
Nice. There you go.
But even when I was at the worst points of my life, like I kept believing in myself.
Keep going, keep going. Good. 4.
It took a long time. It was 7 months after my injury. That was the first time I was able to even stand up.
Woo! Yeah.
And it took me 5 years to be able to take steps on my own.
You got it, man. Come on.
You got this, Timmy. Come on. Yeah.
I don't know if I could have done what he did.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Timmy.
It takes a special person to just never give up. He never gave up. Tim doesn't remember much about the accident, but Tyler found me on Facebook and sent me messages. And he was able to tell me about what happened in the train.
I had a lot of brain damage from the accident. It's still an everyday battle. I still have a lot of executive functioning problems and memory, especially short-term memory problems. But all in all, I think I got the better side of what it could have been. As far as Timmy, since the train crash, we got separated and I haven't talked to him at all.
Timmy, look who's here. Tyler.
Oh, hey, bro.
Tyler.
How you doing, man?
Tim.
How you doing?
Is it okay to hug you? You okay?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
You doing good?
Yeah.
I just thought, wow, he was thinking about Tim. He wanted to get out so that he could tell him Tim's really hurt.
Blessing to see you, man.
You
look good, though, dude. You look good.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you saw me like 16 years old.
I truly am so thankful because he saved Tim's life. I don't know what would have happened if we hadn't have met you that day.
It's been a long journey. I'm glad that we're both still here, you know?
Oh, absolutely.
This is beautiful, man.
It really is.
I know there's a reason why like people have to go through things, you know, and I feel like I have like a second chance on life. I'm just really thankful for that. Whatever life holds, whether that's, you know, having family, friends, future accomplishments, that's gonna be great.
Everything in life changed, you know, just a blink of an eye. It took a lot from me, but everything I've been through, it's really made me who I am today. Like, I always keep a smile on my face. Like, I like to keep everything positive. Life's good right now. Just still trying to be a 23-year-old, still at the same time, just trying to make myself better every day.